Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have some fake dating romance book recommendations for you, so let's just get right into it. So the first book is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I actually just finished this one recently and really liked it. This is also like super friends to lovers if you like that. This is about a girl who grows up with this guy. I think they've known each other since high school at least. And he becomes an NFL player. She is running a dance studio, and he's like obviously like mega rich now. He lives in this fancy apartment, and she's in like this apartment with like cockroaches and stuff, like it's falling apart. And she refuses to take money from him because she's like, that would be crossing this relationship line, and they're like best friends. And to the point where his girlfriends, if it gets to the point where they're like, you know, choose her or me, he always chooses this girl. And they're like I said, best friends. She comes over to his apartment once a week. They go running together. Their relationship is entirely platonic. She watches him date other girls. He watches her date other guys. And there comes a point where they are single at the same time. And she gets super drunk one night and accidentally spills to a reporter how she feels about him. And it ends up all over like TMZ the next day. And his agent decides that it's best for them if they fake date to endorse like this ad that has come up as a result of her sort of drunken rant. They get this like commercial deal, and part of the deal is that they have to sort of act coupley to make the commercial seem more relatable or real or whatever. So they end up fake dating, and they're sort of using it as an excuse to like test out what it would be like to be together kind of after all these years. And this one was just really cute. Like I said, it's got the fake dating, but it's also got like super best friends to lovers vibes. Like this is like the epitome of best friends to lovers, to be honest. And I just really like this one. Next is The Love Hypothesis by Hazelwood. This book is obviously around everywhere right now. This is about a girl who dates this guy very briefly and doesn't really like hit it off with him. She doesn't really care. They split up and whatever, they're both fine with it. But her roommate really hits it off with this guy. And her roommate is like, I don't want to date him because of like girl code. Like, I don't want to take your ex, you know? And the main girl is like, no, like, I don't care. Like, I literally don't care. I don't like him that way. He doesn't like me that way. Like, it's not a big deal. Just date him. And the best friend like won't do it. So she tells her best friend that she's got a boyfriend to sort of get her to move on and go and date this guy to show that she's like totally over him and it's totally fine. And so she starts telling this best friend that she's seeing someone, and then she tells her friend she's going on a date one night and is actually working in the school science lab. And she's there like running her experiments and whatever, and she's out in the hallway and she sees her best friend and she's like, oh my god, my best friend thinks I'm out on a date. So she grabs the nearest guy that's there and kisses him. And sort of like, oh, like maybe she'll think that he's like dropping me off or something, I don't know. And she kisses this guy, and it turns out to be a professor in the department that she is working in. She's like a PhD student, I think. And he ends up being like this grumpy professor, like I said, that everybody sort of hates. He's known as like the hardest grader, and like no one likes this guy. And she's like, great, I've now like kissed the guy everybody hates pretty much. And so they start to fake date basically so that this girl will, you know, move on with her ex-boyfriend. And the guy, sort of his thing he's getting out of it is, he says the university thinks he's a flight risk. They think he's gonna transfer schools, and so they're not releasing all of his funding to him because they think he's gonna basically just like take the funding and then move schools to do his research somewhere else. And so he's like, if I have a serious girlfriend, they'll think that I'm staying here, they'll give me my money, and it'll be great. And so that's why they're sort of fake dating. I really liked this one. The best friend did annoy me a lot in this book. But aside from that, I really loved the relationship in this book. I loved the two of them together. I loved their little fake dating moments. I thought they were really cute. And so this is another really good fake dating book. Next is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. This is also a brother's best friend book. And in this book, it's about a girl whose brother's best friend was this like huge baseball player, super famous, was doing really well, and now he can't play anymore. So he's like, at the beginning he's all depressed and he's like drinking all the time, and she's like, dude, like get yourself together. And so they start fake dating so that his image is sort of, you know, he's more like a well-rounded person, I guess, in the public eye. and they start dating, and her brother's like, okay, like this is weird and whatever, and it's like got the brother's best friend aspect as well. And he's obviously, this guy's unemployed now because he just got kicked off the team, and he ends up working with her brother, and that's how they are together all the time, and this thing happens. And this one's really good. This one's pretty funny as well. It's obviously a rom-com. Like I said, Brother's Best Friend is one of my favorite tropes as well, so I really liked this one as well. Next is When It's Real by Erin Watt. I love this book. If you didn't know, Erin Watt is also a pen name for Elle Kennedy and Jen Frederick, and I love this book. Like I said, it is probably my favorite, or one of my favorite YA books ever. It's about a girl who is 17, and there's like this big pop star who is basically what I consider like the book equivalent of Justin Bieber in his prime. Like he's, you know, the major like teen idol at the time, and they need him to look more serious because he wants to work with this like producer or something to make his next album, and this producer's like, I'm not working with a kid that's like, you know, off the rails and whatever. And so his team is like, okay, we're gonna find you a girlfriend that's like very, you know, normal, down to earth, like is gonna make you look like a serious guy for this record label. And they end up finding this girl because she is the younger sister of a girl who works at his management firm, and she ends up getting offered a ton of money to fake date him for a couple weeks. And obviously they're spending a lot of time together because they're going out and like being photographed together so that people believe that they're a couple. And I just really like this one. I love the like trope of like one of them being famous, and this one obviously has that like really well in it. And like I said, this is a YA book, so like anyone can read this one, and I just really like this one. I thought it was really cute. Next is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I feel like everyone's heard about this book, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway. And in this book, this is about two like wedding guests, I guess. Basically the bride's sister and the groom's brother. The whole wedding party gets sick, and the bride and groom can't go on their honeymoon, which they've won. They won everything for this wedding. And the only way they can use the tickets is if the brother and the sister go, because they have the same last name. So it's like they're like, it'll be fine. Like, and so they go on their honeymoon, but they hate each other. And they spend, I think they're in Maui. They spend like a week in Maui, and they keep running into sort of people where they have to keep pretending they're together because they don't want the hotel to know that they aren't actually like the newlyweds and things like that. And this one is really funny. If you haven't read it, this is like the one rom-com I always compare other rom-coms to in terms of funniness, because this one is like seriously funny, and there's just so many little moments of like their fake dating and like acting like a couple that's just really funny in this book, and I really loved it. Next is The Risk by Elle Kennedy. This is obviously part of the Briar U series. In this one, it is about a girl who wants this sports internship, and the only way she gets it is she name drops this guy who plays for the Harvard team that she knows this guy she's interviewing with is a big fan of, and this guy's like not paying attention to her because she's a girl. Like, he's not asking her serious questions and just like whatever. But as soon as she mentions this guy's name, he's like, oh my gosh, like I love him, like he's my favorite player, blah blah blah. And she's like, oh yeah, like he's my boyfriend, like he's great and whatever, like you can meet him. And the guy ends up like obviously super interested in her because she knows this guy, and so she has to fake date him. And his condition of them fake dating is for every fake date he gets a real date, because he's like been after this girl for a while. And this one is just really cute. Obviously a hockey romance, because all of the off-campus Briar U books are hockey romances. And I just really liked the vibes of this one. I liked that he's sort of chasing after her and she's like reluctant to go out with him, even though he's sort of like the star of like the hockey team. And so I just thought that was really cool. Next is Take a Hint, Dani Brown, which is about a woman who works in a building with a security guard, and they have sort of become friends because they see each other every morning, and he'll like give her a granola bar and she'll bring him a coffee or whatever, and they just like talk every morning when she sees him when she goes to work. And one day there is this sort of like a fire drill type situation that she doesn't know about, and she gets trapped in the elevator and she's freaking out because she doesn't know it's a drill. And he comes and rescues her and ends up carrying her out of the building, and people are taking pictures and videos and sharing it online, and it becomes this whole hashtag of like the two of them together. And he wants to keep going with it because he has this charity, and this charity is getting all kinds of recognition. They want to interview him on all these, you know, web shows and whatever for his charity, and he's like, if we fake date, they'll want me to be interviewed more, you know, like people will care more about the story and about the charity, and he's like, I could really use the publicity and the money for the charity. And so she agrees, and they fake date, and this one's just like really cute. I really liked sort of their reasoning for fake dating in this one as well. Like I said, it was very much just to benefit his charity. It wasn't really for personal gain for either of them, which I thought was sort of a unique twist, and I really liked this one as well. Next is The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This is obviously the first book in the Off-Campus series, which is about Hannah, who is trying to date this football player that she's had a crush on for a while, and the captain of the hockey team needs to get his grades up, and she is doing really well in this class, and she offers to tutor him in exchange for him fake dating her to make this football player notice her, be jealous or whatever. And obviously, like, that's not how things go, but this one's really, really cute. Obviously, everyone talks about these books, and that's for, like, a good reason. They are pretty good. This one's my favorite, probably, in the whole series. I really love this one, and it does have the fake dating element, which is perfect for this video, obviously. And the last book is Trying to Score by Kendall Ryan. This is another hockey romance. This one is about a girl and a guy who were together in college, I believe, and he recorded a video of them, like, sleeping together. And she knew at the time that it was happening, and whatever, he said he was going to delete it, but he didn't. And so it's like years later, and somehow someone has hacked into his cloud or hacked into his phone or whatever and gotten this video. And so now his agent is like, okay, well, it's going to look a lot better if you two are actually a couple and this gets released, because then it just looks like, oh, like his college girlfriend is like, you know, like it'll be less of a big deal if they're an actual couple. So they have to fake date to sort of make this coming out seem less horrible, I guess. And this one's really cute. This is a whole series. It's called the Hot Jock series. I believe this is number 3 in the series. They're all really good, very similar to like Off-Campus vibes if you liked those books. And I just think it's a really good fake dating book as well, because there's sort of a lot at stake in this one, obviously. And so those are my fake dating recommendations for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. I do new book videos every single week, and I will see you next time.